Picture this. You slip on a wet floor at a grocery store, and suddenly you're in a whole legal universe you never signed up for. Welcome to the world of accident injury lawyers, where the drama is real, the stakes are high, and the paperwork is somehow even worse than the injury. Here's something most people don't know. When a personal injury case gets messy, lawyers sometimes file complaints against each other with their state bar association. Think of the state bar like the principal's office for attorneys, except instead of taking away recess, they can take away an entire career. Now you're probably wondering why a lawyer would file an ethical complaint while a lawsuit is already happening at the same time. It's actually a strategy that some attorneys use, and understanding it makes you way smarter than the average person sitting in that waiting room with an ice pack. An ethical complaint can allege things like conflicts of interest, misrepresentation, or a lawyer pressuring witnesses in ways that cross the line. When those allegations land on the state bar's desk, they can create a distraction for the opposing counsel that ripples straight into the courtroom. Here's where it gets a little chess-like and honestly a little wild. If the opposing lawyer is suddenly under investigation, their credibility can be quietly questioned in front of a judge, and their client's case can start to feel shakier by association. But hold on, this tactic is a double-edged lightsaber. To borrow a reference from a galaxy far, far away, filing a frivolous or bad faith complaint can itself become an ethical violation, meaning the lawyer who threw the first punch can end up in the principal's office too. Ethical complaints and litigation are technically separate processes, but in reality they breathe the same air. A bar investigation can affect whether a lawyer stays on a case, whether they get sanctioned, and sometimes whether a settlement gets rushed because one side can't afford the extra heat. On the defense side, insurance companies and their legal teams are very aware of this dynamic, and they train for it like it's a sport. If your injury lawyer has a spotless bar record and a reputation for playing clean, that actually protects you because it removes a weapon from the other side's toolkit. Now, most ethical complaints filed during litigation are legitimate and necessary. They exist to protect clients like you from being steamrolled. The system genuinely works when it's used honestly, catching lawyers who hide evidence, lie to judges, or pressure clients into bad settlements worth pennies on the dollar. History shows us that the 1980s and 1990s saw a surge in these kinds of tactical complaints, especially in high-value personal injury cases involving asbestos and big pharmaceutical companies. Billions of dollars were on the table, and some firms learned quickly that attacking opposing counsel's ethics was cheaper than fighting the actual evidence. The good news is that bar associations have gotten sharper about spotting complaints that are filed purely to delay or intimidate rather than address a real problem. Many states now have screening panels that filter out the noise before a full investigation even begins, which speeds up justice for everyone. What this means for you as an injured person is that you should absolutely ask your lawyer if they've ever had a bar complaint filed against them and what happened with it. Transparency here isn't awkward, it's just smart shopping, the same way you'd check reviews before trusting someone with your car or your cat. The biggest misunderstanding people have is thinking that a bar complaint automatically means a lawyer is guilty of something terrible. Sometimes it's a genuine violation, sometimes it's a strategy, and sometimes it's a strategy, and sometimes it's just two type A personalities in expensive suits having a very formal argument. What you really want is a lawyer who understands all of this. The ethics rules, the litigation pressure, and how the two worlds interact, because that lawyer is playing three-dimensional chess while everyone else is playing checkers. Preparation and knowledge of these invisible rules can be the difference between a fair settlement and walking away with almost nothing. If you want to learn more about finding injury lawyers who play it straight and still win, check out our links in the description to learn more about our company.